I think I'm losing it. The fluorescent lights hummed, a discordant melody to my throbbing skull. Dr. Sharma smiled, a practiced, empathetic smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. How are we feeling today, Elias? I hesitated, like static. Like someone's tuned the radio to a dead station and cranked up the volume. She made a note on her clipboard, headaches still persistent, constant. And the visions, they're getting worse. Tell me about the visions. I swallowed. The taste of stale coffee bitter on my tongue. Shadows, figures, I see them in the periphery. They're always watching, and I hear things, whispers. Can't make out what they're saying. Are they threatening? I don't know, they just exist. They feel malevolent. Sarah squeezed my hand. She sat beside me during these sessions, a silent, unwavering presence. I appreciated it, even though I knew this was tearing her apart. Elias, we've talked about this, Dr. Sharma said, her voice gentle. It's been almost a year since the accident. These are likely symptoms of your TBI. The medication makes it worse, I snapped, pulling my hand away from Sarah's. It blurs everything, makes it harder to tell what's real. We can adjust the dosage. No, I need to be clear. I need to see. Dr. Sharma sighed. Elias, you need to trust the process. We want you to get better. We moved into the house a month after I got out of the hospital. Sarah insisted on it. A fresh start, she said. A modern architectural marvel nestled just outside of Portland, all clean lines and expansive windows. It was supposed to be my dream house. Now it felt like a gilded cage. The accident, that's what everyone called it, an accident. A beam gave way, the scaffolding collapsed, and I was buried under tons of steel and concrete. Lucky to be alive, they said. A miracle, but it wasn't just an accident. I knew it. The memory was fractured like shards of glass, but I remembered something else, something darker. The first few weeks in the house were okay, or as okay as they could be. I still struggled with basic tasks, remembering appointments, following conversations, even finding my way around the house. But the hallucinations were manageable. Fleeting glimpses, whispers easily dismissed as tinnitus. Then things started to change. The lights flickered constantly, despite Sarah's assurances that the wiring was brand new. Objects moved, a book on the shelf, a picture on the wall subtly out of place. And the whispers, they became louder, more insistent. One night I woke up to find Sarah asleep beside me, but the room felt wrong. Cold, a heavy pressure on my chest. I saw it then, standing in the corner of the room just beyond the reach of the moonlight. A tall, shadowy figure, its form indistinct, but its presence undeniably menacing. I gasped, reaching for Sarah, but the figure vanished. I sat up, heart pounding, sweat slicking my skin. Elias, what is it? Sarah mumbled, half asleep. Did you see anything? She blinked, confused. See what? You had a nightmare. No, there was something in the room. She sighed, her voice laced with exhaustion. Elias, please, you're not sleeping. You need to take your medication. I couldn't. The next day, I went back to the construction site. It was abandoned, the skeletal remains of half-finished buildings jutting out of the earth like broken bones. The construction company had gone bankrupt after the accident, leaving the site to rot. The air hung heavy with the smell of damp earth and decay. I wandered through the overgrown weeds, the silence broken only by the rustling of leaves and the distant drone of traffic. I remembered something about the foundation, something they were building before the accident. A deep pit reinforced with concrete and steel. I found it hidden beneath a tangle of vines and debris. The concrete was cracked and stained, and there, etched into the surface, were symbols, strange angular symbols that I didn't recognize. I pulled out my phone and took pictures. I spent hours that night poring over books on ancient religions and folklore. The symbols, they resembled runes, but not any runes I could identify. They felt older, darker. I started keeping a journal documenting everything. The hallucinations, the whispers, the symbols. I filled page after page with frantic scribblings, trying to make sense of it all. Sarah found the journal. She didn't say anything at first, but I saw the fear in her eyes. Elias, what is all this? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. I tried to explain, to tell her about the shadows, the whispers, the feeling that I was being watched. But the words came out jumbled, incoherent. It's about the accident. It wasn't an accident, Sarah. Something happened there, something they were trying to hide. She shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes. Elias, you're scaring me. Dr. Sharma called. She wanted to increase my medication. I refused. Elias, you're not thinking clearly, she said, her voice firm. You need help. I don't need medication, I need answers. I hung up on her. Old man Hemlock lived next door. He was a recluse, rarely seen, his property overgrown and unkempt. But I saw him watching me sometimes from behind the curtain of his window. One afternoon I saw him tending his garden. I went over to him. Mr. Hemlock. He looked up, his eyes ancient and knowing. You know what happened at the construction site, don't you? I said. He hesitated, then nodded slowly. Some things are best left buried, young man. What do you mean? That land, it's been cursed for centuries. They shouldn't have disturbed it. Disturbed what? He shook his head, his eyes filled with a deep sadness. They woke something up, something that should have stayed asleep. He wouldn't say anything else. Detective Miller came to the house. He was investigating a series of disappearances, construction workers who had vanished from the site before the accident. Mr. Thorne, we understand you were involved in an accident at the construction site last year. Yes, and you were the architect on the project. Yes. Did you notice anything unusual happening at the site before the accident? I hesitated. Unusual how? Anything out of the ordinary. Strange rituals, unexplained occurrences. I looked at Sarah. She was watching me, her face pale. No, I said, nothing. He didn't believe me. I could see it in his eyes. The hallucinations were getting worse. They were no longer confined to the periphery. They were right in front of me, vivid and real. I saw the shadowy figures in the house, in the garden, even in the reflection of the windows. The whispers became louder, more insistent, forming words, phrases. We see you. We know. You can't hide. I started sleeping with a knife under my pillow. One night I had a vision. It was so real, so vivid that I felt like I was actually there. I saw a group of people, cloaked and hooded, gathered around the pit at the construction site. They were chanting, their voices a guttural drone. In the center of the circle, they held a struggling figure, a young woman. They lowered her into the pit, and then the vision ended. I woke up screaming. I knew what they had done. I went to the construction site. I found the foreman, a burly man with a scarred face. What were you doing out there? I demanded. What did you bury? He looked at me, his eyes cold and hard. I don't know what you're talking about. The ritual, the woman you sacrificed her. He laughed. You're crazy. I grabbed him by the collar. Tell me the truth. He shoved me away. I stumbled, falling to the ground. He kicked me hard in the ribs. Stay away from here, he snarled, or you'll be next. I went home, bleeding and bruised. I knew they were coming for me, for Sarah. I locked the doors and windows, barricading them with furniture. I grabbed the knife from under the pillow. Elias, what are you doing? Sarah cried, her voice filled with terror. They're coming for us, Sarah. They're going to hurt us. Elias, there's no one here. You're not making sense. They're always here watching us. I can see them. I saw them then. Shadows moving in the corners of the room, their forms becoming clearer, more defined. Stay away, I screamed, lunging at the shadows with the knife. Sarah screamed. She ran to the phone. I had to protect her. I ripped the phone cord out of the wall. Elias, please, you need help. I'm protecting you. I saw a panel in the wall, hidden behind a painting. I didn't remember it being there before. I pried it open. Inside, there was a collection of artifacts, ancient pottery, strange metal objects, and a leather-bound journal. I opened the journal. The pages were filled with a spidery script detailing the history of the land. It spoke of an ancient entity, a malevolent force that had been buried beneath the earth for centuries. The construction had awakened it. The entity wanted out. It wanted a vessel. I heard sirens in the distance. The police were coming. They were part of it. I barricaded the door. Elias, opened the door. It was Detective Miller. Stay away, I shouted. You can't have her, Elias. We just want to help you. You want to help them? I saw them then, the shadows closing in, their forms coalescing into something monstrous. They reached for Sarah. I screamed. The door burst open. The police rushed in. I lunged at them with the knife. Everything went black. I woke up in a white room, padded walls, a small window. They said I had a breakdown. They said I was delusional. They said I was a danger to myself and others. They diagnosed me with severe psychosis. They gave me medication. The shadows were still there. The whispers continued. They were always watching. One day I was sitting by the window, staring out at the world. I saw him then, standing in the shadows just beyond the fence. Old Man Hemlock, he smiled, a knowing smile. He raised his hand, and then the ground beneath the hospital trembled. The entity was here, and it wasn't finished with me.